Good evening. I'd like to get started, and I apologize for the center being so warm. I've been told that our thermostat is broke, so we're opening the doors, and I'll talk as loud as I possibly can, trying to get some air in here. I'm going to go ahead and start the meeting. I know that Mr. Monroe will probably be here, and my vice president doesn't get off till 7:30. So although we don't have a quorum for our executive board, we will go ahead and start. So I'm calling the meeting to order, and I'd like to ask for the permission of the oldest person here. Usually it's Mrs. Martin. She's not here today. So I know that she is 85, so I'll go down. We'll start with 60. Anyone 60 and older? 65 and older? 70 and older? 70 older? Anyone 70 and older? Okay. Anyone 75 or older? Okay. Anyone 80? Okay, that one. Anyone 80? Okay, so you're over 80. 85. Okay, you're over 80, so I'm going to ask your permission to chair this meeting. That I have your permission to chair the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, now I have a volunteer to lead us in prayer. If I can get a volunteer to lead us in prayer. Or will, thank you.
We all bow our heads and give you prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask you to take your blessing upon us together. Make our decisions your decisions. Make sure that we do the right thing. In your name, these things we ask. Guide us through the table to make sure that our community is kept well and safe. In your name, these things we ask. Amen.
Okay, we'll have the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay.
You have to stand.
Okay. The meeting opened at 7:40 p.m. Prayer by a resident of Evanston. I didn't get her name. Treasury report. Opening balance as of 3/31/93 was $263.30. Ending balance as of 4/30/93 is $428.43. Question, where does the money come from? The answer, membership, festival, and other fundraisers. Report was accepted. Secretary report, there was no formal meeting due to the low turnout being tax day and the bad fire at Woodburn and Taft Roads. Okay, so there was just discussion during the meeting time. Police report, low from the previous month, such as 13 drug-related offenses, 14 aggravated burglaries, 11 car thefts, 17 petty thefts, and there were some criminal damages. Question, where is the heaviest drug-related problem? Answer is at the point. Crime Stoppers presentation, their number to report any crime is 352-3040. Committee reports, parade will start at 10 o'clock Memorial Day at Rutland Avenue. Day at Eden, June the 26th, 27th, from 12 noon to 9 p.m. Volunteers needed. Pick your own time. We have 3 booths, hot dogs, lemonade, and popcorn. Evanston Festival, August the 7th, here at the center. NSP worker has been found. Her name is Mrs. Crenshaw. BASF, Director of Evanston, now, BASF. The director of Evanston One Hills Medical Center said that they are ready to start their first phase of the medical testing. About 1,000 people have come forward. Question, if you suffer later, what to do? Answer is act now. BASF's number to file a claim is 723-9500. For the medical center is 221-2565. New business, street cleaning. Ask for street cleaning signs We asked before and got a reply 1 year later. Motion to send a letter to John Handler. Motion passed. Correspondence. Dollars for Scholars requesting a donation. Question, how many from Evanston received the scholar dollars? Answer, not available. The treasury is broke. Suggestion, to try a bake sale and have a $5 donation. Moved and second to be tabled for next month. Invest in Neighborhoods will give out its grants. Our grant was not accepted. CBR request for parking lot at Center granted. Question, is this the same as the old block grant? Answer, yes. Comments, our foster parent training program lady was absent and Xavier to be discussed. Respectfully submitted, Rita Martin, treasurer, secretary.
You have heard the reading of the minutes. What is your pleasure?
Make a motion that the minutes be received and for being a necessary correction. So read.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ready for the question?
Well, I don't know how to do it exactly, but there was a minute, my report from the last meeting.
Report from environmental
I did come
chairperson
in late, but I did.
Doherty.
I don't have anything here.
Came in late and gave us a report.
Well, I gave a written report, so I
Oh, so I don't know anything about it.
requested it be submitted. I spoke, but
Oh.
I also gave a written report. and
The one that I got now?
One is, not the one now, the one I gave last.
Oh, I gotta find it. Okay. She
That
gave
can
a
be
report.
corrected.
Okay, with the necessary corrections. It has been moved and second that the minutes be received with the necessary corrections. You ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Minutes will stand. Treasurer hasn't gotten here yet, so we'll ask for the fireman to come and give his report. Can you come up front?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The statistics that I have here run from May 1st to present. These include the houses that cover the Evanston area, which would include the Avondale House and the Walnut Hill Station. Since May 1st to date, there have been a total of 793 emergency medical runs and 496 fire runs to the surrounding areas, Avondale, Walnut Hills, and Evanston. I don't have a breakdown of the actual runs that occurred in the Evanston area. Of the 496 fire runs that the companies responded to, the companies spent approximately 111 hours and 50 minutes of time working at these fires. They included 16 extra alarm fires, 36 what we call Code 2 fires, which is a regular one alarm complement. Included 417 Code 1 fires, which are small incipient fires such as trash, automobiles, outdoor fires, and 13 false alarms. Of these 793 EMS runs that we responded to in the areas, we spent 346 hours and 10 minutes of time on the scene. During this period, we held a mock disaster drill at Walnut Hills High School, which helped the students of the high school for prom night. This was a drill that was set up for drunk driving. They simulated an actual car crash for the students and let them see what could happen if they do drink and drive. It was a very successful drill, and we didn't hear of any incidents after the fact from the high school after prom night. We did a total of 1,846 hydrant inspections around the area. This is checking fire hydrants on the street, making sure that they are there and that they are properly operating. We inspected 646 buildings, of which 26 violations were issued for smoke detectors. This includes our battery program, which is still ongoing, people that can stop into the engine houses and pick up batteries for their smoke detectors for replacement. At these fires, we set up a total of 765 feet of ladder. and laid approximately 11,800 feet of hose at these incidents. And that is our report for this period.
Have any questions? Dora?
No, I don't recall. Did you mention the number of EMS runs that you had?
Yes, ma'am. There were a total of 793.
Could you explain how that compares to this time last year?
No, ma'am, I don't have any figures for this time period of last year. We could compile them if you would like us to start compiling them. We could possibly get that and compare them to the year prior. That shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
I'll make note of that so that next month they can do it.
Thank you.
You have a question here?
Yeah, so what's the time period of that? all
This
the
is
time?
from May 1st until today.
Mr. Curry? Go ahead.
Number one, I'd like to know, can I bring a fire extinguisher to the firehouse to be checked, or where do you check it when you want it just checked?
Okay, is this out of personal?
Yes.
Okay. No,
Like a
ma'am.
40 gallon or whatever. you
No,
call it.
it belongs to...
Okay, we are not able to check fire extinguishers in the houses. Any type of extinguisher, there's a state code and a city code that states that all extinguishers have to be checked by a private organization. So if they need to be refilled or checked, they have to go to, there's several companies around the Cincinnati area that does that.
And number two, the fire hydrant up on Dana at the, it's between the park and a car exchange place. Before you
Okay.
get to Realistic, it had been knocked off during the last snowstorm, in the winter.
Okay.
And it was never replaced. Do you all plan to replace it or not?
Do you know an approximate address then?
No, it's right in front of Dana Park,
In front of Dana Park?
the Dana Playground.
Generally, the hydrants that we are replacing is done by private contractors now, and they had been keeping up on the hydrants. I'll see if I can get an address of that hydrant and find out why it hasn't been replaced. Generally, knocked off hydrants have been replaced usually within a 30-day time span. So I will make note of that also.
Mr. Curry?
I want to know in reference to the EMS run.
Yes, sir?
Can you possibly keep the break run?
Into areas or what the runs consisted of?
What type of medical runs did you make for it?
Okay, no, sir, I don't have a breakdown of that at this time, no.
Is that possible?
Well, that is compiled on a yearly basis. The total amount of runs are compiled at the end of the year in the annual report. At that time, they break them down into each community and each zone that is in each community. And we can tell where the runs are, what they are, and how many times they were there. But during the year, I don't have that.
We get
That's
access
the
to your annual
23rd.
report.
What day
I would
is
have to check
everybody?
with the fire chief on that.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
We've had a fire once at 1630 Ghana Avenue. We have called y'all out about the yard where the stuff was just stowed and it's still in the backyard pile, almost high as half of the house. And it's a hazardous, and it can catch on fire again. And we'll call the fireman to come out there and look at it. He came out and looked at it and said some will be did. They have nothing been did about it yet.
Okay, what's the address again?
1638 Donna Avenue,
Donner? Okay.
in the backyard. Yes, we'll find this pile of stuff.
Are there any other questions? Shemai,
I can get answers.
we have another question back there.
Just out of curiosity, was there any increase in the fire department or anybody coming out into the two storms that we had?
I don't have the exact figures on it, but yes, there was a major increase on the amount of runs. I believe that was last Thursday and this Monday. I was on duty Monday when the storm hit, and yes, there was a number of extra runs throughout the period.
What about our fatalities? Was there anybody being hurt?
As I'm aware of right now, I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Any other questions? We thank you for coming and giving us that report.
Thank you
We
very
look
much.
forward to seeing you next month.
Okay, thank you.
We have lots of correspondence, but I'm going to hold that, and I'm going to let Ms. Martin read one correspondence, and we'll come back to the correspondence after the BASF report.
Okay, this reads June the 9th, 1993. Dear Evanston Community Council, for the last 2.5 years, I have enjoyed serving as president of the Evanston Community Council. I found those years to be both rewarding and challenging. Together, we have accomplished many goals. Unfortunately, personal responsibilities and obligations will prevent me from continuing to serve as president of the Evanston Community Council. Please accept this letter of resignation effective August the 31st, 1993. Respectfully submitted, Nafisa Wali, President.
Thank you. The executive board will be picking your next president, and the policy is usually that the vice president will step in and then pick another person to fill his or her position. At this time, we're going to ask BASF to come forward and give us the report. I understand that NALSET has given you some questions that they want answered, and we will look forward to you answering those questions. I'm going to give you till 8:25.
Okay, great. Okay. First of all, thank you for inviting me here again, having us back after the February meeting. There were some things in the February meeting that required some follow-up, and we committed to coming back and providing you with an update at this point. Just for your information, my name is Dale Webster. I'm with there's another run for it. I'm with BASF Corporation in Parsippany, New Jersey, and I'm the manager of site remediation for BASF. I manage our cleanup programs across the country for those of you that weren't here at the February meeting. First of all, I'd like to also say thank you for giving me a 1-month postponement on coming back here. I initially committed to coming back in May, but due to some family commitments, I was unable to make it. My wife gave birth to baby a week ago, and I wanted to be around town in the event that the baby came early. So if any of you would like to see pictures, I've got them with me. The other folks that are with me here tonight representing BASF, just so you're familiar with the faces, this is Corey Towns. Corey is our ecology coordinator at our site that's now located in Milford, and she's been involved with some of the activities that have taken place at the site recently. And she'll be talking to you on some of those activities. Also, we have with us Jim Hall, who's from Tastatinius. So some of you recognize Jim from his involvement with activities around here over the years. And Ray Nowak, who is a hydrogeologist and has been involved with the investigations of the site. He works with Groundwater Technology, who is the consulting firm retained by BASF to do the investigation of the soil and groundwater at the Dana Avenue site. So those are some of the folks that are here tonight. Mrs. Wally mentioned we had the opportunity to meet with some people from NALSET, Mrs. Doherty, Mr. Curry, Mr. Thompson, and Mrs. Stewart. I don't know if Mrs. Stewart's here tonight or not. But anyhow, we had the opportunity to meet with them yesterday and to review in considerable detail not only the information we'll be presenting here tonight, but also to answer some of the questions in more technical detail that they had raised at that point. And there were a lot of good questions raised, and I thought it was a real productive session, a lot of back and forth that we were able to get a lot of input from on our plans and on the activities that have taken place thus far. Hopefully we were able to provide a lot of information to them and to address some of their concerns associated with the site. With that, I want to keep the focus of tonight's comments fairly brief and to talk about three basic things. Number one is I want to follow up on some of the open issues from the last time around. Number two, I want to talk about the activities that have transpired since February, that some of the actions you may have seen at the site as you're been around the neighborhood. We've been out there doing quite a bit of work over the last couple months. And then the third thing is to talk about some of the plans that have become more firm over the last couple months, some of the actions we intend to take in the upcoming couple of months here. So with that, let me start with what we did, what we had follow-up to from our last time we were here. Basically, there were a lot of questions raised, and listening to the tapes and talking with other folks that were at it, they were boiled down to, I think, 3 key issues that came up at that point. The first issue was with regard to the establishment of an information repository on data generated on the investigation and cleanup of the site, and whether or not BASF would be willing to establish something like that, or the city would be willing to work in conjunction with that. And we have no problems with providing that type of information. All the reports that have been generated, submitted to the state, submitted to the city. We'd be glad to work with the community council with setting up something with the city folks to establish some kind of center here, some kind of repository to work for the development of a repository where there can be information on the site that may be of interest to you. Any of the publicly available documents that we provide to the city or to the state will be included in there. We can work out the details of that subsequent to this, but I would estimate within the month we'll have that all squared away. Next week will be done? Great. So, and we'll get what copies need to be included in there. That was one issue. The second issue, question was raised with regard to whether or not BASF intended to conduct any soil sampling in the community around the Dana Avenue site. And the answer back to you on that is we have no intentions at this point we have no plans at this point to proceed with any kind of soil sampling in the residential neighborhood there. Third issue that came up last time around and that I committed to get back to you on was whether or not BASF would provide funding for a third-party review of the documents generated by groundwater technology, or to provide funding for some third-party sampling to be performed and verify the results, or to serve as a check on the work performed by groundwater technology. Response on that is no, we have no intentions of doing that. At this point, we have a lot of confidence in the work that GTI is performing, and they're registered professionals in their fields, and the laboratories that are conducting the work are licensed and have the criteria that they have to provide, and we have a high degree of confidence in the results that are generated from there. So in that regard, those are the 3 key issues I feel from what is able to come back from the meeting last time around as that were raised from there. Now from there, the next item I wanted to talk about, or have somebody from BASF tell you a little bit about, is the activities that have transpired since February. At that point, we had told you we were planning to do a tank removal activity. We had a number of tanks that had been closed years before, filled with concrete, and that had to be removed. And we were getting the wheels rolling at that point to get that activity underway. That's taken place, and Corey, as I said, is the site ecology coordinator for BASF in the area now. She was involved with those activities, and some of you may recognize her. She knocked on some of your doors and told you what was going on during the course of that. And she's got a report on on that overall activity there. So, Corey?
Okay. Actually, I got overheads, so this is going to be a little bit difficult for me. But anyway, I hope everyone can see this. Just to give you some historical information on tank group excavation number 12. The 14 tanks were installed in 1927. The closure dates for the 14 tanks lasted between January 70 and January 87. These are the various tanks that were at that particular site. And BASF acquired the site in 1985. The initial phase of the project took place between April 13th and May 3rd. I was involved periodically throughout this time. It began with the excavation where the tank groups were identified in a specific region on Dana Avenue, on the respective site. The area the concrete was broken up during that time, and the concrete was removed away from the respective tanks. We had a jackhammer that broke up the tank, basically, and we were able to pull back the sides of the tank. The contents of the tanks were removed and placed into respective piles, and they were identified for later classification. And the analysis was completed by BEC and DataChem laboratories. We had fence line area monitoring, which included organic vapor analyzers for hydrocarbons and a mini RAM aerosol monitor for fugitive dust emissions. We were able to control dust by using a continuous water spray on the site. The second phase of the project included characterizing the contents of the tank as soil and debris with our profiles. I had a residents meeting on May 3rd where I talked to the neighbors on Dana Avenue and told them what would be taking place during that time, who I was, what we were doing, and basically giving them an overview of the activities during the month of May.
Just on Dana?
Just on Dana. Primarily because they were the affected neighbors, and that was something that I spoke with corporate and the I guess neighborhood representative about, and they said that we should talk to the affected neighbors. So that was Dana Avenue.
We were starting.
Who was the neighborhood representative you spoke with?
I spoke with all the neighbors from Dana,
From Montgomery down to.
right, from the
No, you said you
dairy.
had spoken with a representative that agreed to
No.
that process. You said you spoke with a representative of the community that agreed with that process?
No, what I did was I went door to door to each neighbor on Dana Avenue and told them about what would be taking place during the month of May and basically the activities on the site.
We had some concerns that we were going to be starting work early in the mornings, and
Right.
we were going to have trucks moving around there at
And
7:30.
you didn't feel it was necessary to contact our president to let her know that this.
As a matter of fact,
We had.
I talked with someone, and they told me that they were going to have trucks moving early in the morning, and I told them they need to speak to the people on Dana.
You know, but the big apartment house is across the street, we sit right across there.
I was told to start from United Dairy
Yeah.
to the end of,
We sit
which
right
is,
there by.
okay. During the loading operations, on May 5th and 6th, and also on May 26th and 27th, air monitoring of the piles and the loading stations took place. All trucks were tarped and cleaned prior to leaving BASF. Water sprays were used for dust control. On May 5th and 6th, approximately 839 tons were removed to EnviroSafe of Oregon, Ohio, which was approximately 34 loads. And on May 26th and 27th, approximately 449 tons were removed to Elda Disposal of Cincinnati, Ohio. Total truckloads were 28. The
Pardon?
It's not a down, they can't hear you.
Okay. The final report is basically summed up this way. When we removed the tanks from tank group excavation number 12, there was no structural damage done. There were no holes that were visible. From the time that they were installed in 1927 to the time they were closed in 1987 to the time they were removed last month, there was no release of any hazardous chemicals. So we were quite pleased with that. As far as the air monitoring during excavation and loading using the organic vapor analyzer, background levels were basically at 1 ppm. Action level for hydrocarbons under OSHA is 100 ppms, and the breathing zone for the people that were working on the site was 2 to 5 ppm. So there were no exposures at all. Air monitoring during excavation and loading using the mini-RAM aerosol monitor for fugitive dust was non-detect during that entire time period.
Have you proceeded to remove all the tanks now?
All the tanks are removed.
Maybe I just didn't.
Sure. First of all, the tanks, as they, when we went after them now, they were empty of any chemicals that they filled with concrete. So that we removed that concrete. There was some residual before came out along with concrete, but that's all addressed with this. They were general solvent storage tanks, a variety of different types of solvents that were used in the process.
Can't hear you on this side, man.
Pardon me, I'm sorry.
Can't hear you on this side.
Okay. They were general solvent storage tanks, types of solvents that were used in the process, toluene, xylene, other related hydrocarbon compounds like that.
Can you stand up, please, so people can hear what you're saying?
What effect would those chemicals have on the general, on the air and also the soil? What are some of the side effects for the people in the community? How would the people in the community be actually affected if it had gotten out of hand?
Okay, well, first of all, we did this course, we did an extensive amount of monitoring during this, and there was no, we checked around the perimeter during the course of all this. We checked whether there was any dust leaving the site, whether there was any volatiles leaving the site, and there was nothing that came close to approaching any kind of action levels on that. In fact, we issued a report, and that's filed with air pollution control people. Which is,
What effects if it had gotten out? Would it
if it had gotten out,
what effects would it have had on the general population in the community? If it had gotten out?
if it had, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a toxicologist, okay, so I have a tough time answering that question, and none of that is.
You have no idea what effects how we
I can tell you this, they're common chemicals, they're used every day. Toluene is a constituent gas, okay, and that's one of the things they're not uncommon things.
It was affected on Washington City when the smoke. Not only that, but he studies on the compound, the intermixture of the compounds together.
We've done a lot of work on what's in the soils. We've done a lot of investigation.
Only one person can talk at a time.
And that was some of the stuff that I reported at the last meeting, what the results of the investigations were from there. That's not another question?
You said independent companies, I guess, did these surveys and reports on the chemicals or whatever?
During this project,
Right.
yes.
Are those reports available to the community?
Certainly the air monitoring report was
Yeah.
submitted to the air board, and that's available for public for swap, right, with the Air Pollution Control Board. That's all the results of all the air monitoring is included there. Any other reports that have been submitted are available for public review. So, and I'll add that any data that may not have been included in a report at this point that might be incorporated into future reports, obviously be available at that point too.
Is it carcinogenic?
Pardon me?
Sure.
The particular compounds that were in the tanks, were they carcinogenic? Is that the question? I don't know. I mean,
You have no idea.
not off the top of my head. No, I don't. Off the top of my head.
I have a question right here.
Isn't it, are all companies' policies that if any chemicals are help in a community, that they have a book that states what effect this chemical has on you? Or
Sure.
whatever?
Yeah,
So
I think you're referring to the
question.
material safety data
Could you
sheets.
answer that for us?
Sure. The material safety data sheets, I think
Yes.
that's what you're referring to. That's, yeah, I don't have that here with me tonight to be able to
Will it be
tell you that.
available in the repository?
Are the MSDs available
In the
for that?
repository?
Any publicly available information will be included in the repository.
They didn't even bother to cover the trucks up or nothing. The dust was going everywhere.
The trucks were covered during the period. During the 5th and the 6th, all the trucks that were leaving the site were tarped. They were lined, the contents were placed inside the beds of the truck, and then before the drivers left the site, that was something that was mandatory. I stood at the back gate. They were all tarped before they went over to X-Rail and went to Oregon, Ohio.
Y'all was still at the back gate, we at the front. Y'all was just only taking care of the side on Dana Avenue. Y'all didn't care nothing about us seniors over there on the front.
You said that when you pulled the tanks up out of the ground, that there were no holes or anything. And
Right.
what were the tanks coated with to prevent them from corroding?
They were steel. They were-
Yes, but our soil is highly corrosive, and it corrodes uncoated steel. So I'm assuming since these tanks, after being buried all these years, did not have any holes or any other type of malformity to it, then there must have been some specific coating that was used on these tanks. Can you give us an idea of what that was?
Actually, I think during the time that they were installed in 1927,
I don't think there was any coating
totally different
technology
company
involved.
at that time, and
So therefore, the tanks possibly could have been.
no, they weren't.
They
We
Okay.
had visual checks, and we took pictures.
Okay, could you explain why our videotapes show something totally different than what you're saying?
I'd like to see a
Yeah,
videotape.
in order for that to be a fair question, you've got to show us the videotapes. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, but that's not fair.
I have a question back here.
If the BASF people might be applied, and they were closed in 87, were those tanks used in that interim?
Now, part of the federal requirement for closure is removing the chemicals that are in those tanks, whatever chemicals exist. Removing those from the tanks and then filling them with seed.
Yes, I understand, but my question was, were the tanks in that 2-year interval between 85 and 87 used?
No, they couldn't have been. They couldn't have been, because they were filled with cement.
Then why were they closed in 87?
It was part of a closure process, primarily because there was no use for them at that point.
Yeah, but this all, why in 87 did they decide to close?
I guess it's part of a federal requirement.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing harmful in them, why were they closed in 87?
I no further use for them.
They had no further.
For one thing, they were old, obsolete tanks, no further use for them, but.
There's a lot of stuff that was old there, but they just
Yeah,
kept
yeah,
it.
no, I know, but there, along that time, there were changes in regulations, and these tanks were under, right at the foundation of a building, and removal would jeopardize the building, and, that there was, I don't know the exact reason, I'm speculating to
No
understand why.
ambush intended, no ambush intended, I just wanted to know why
Yeah.
they, in 2 years, they suddenly decided to close.
There was, for one thing, there was a change in regulations, that's part of it. it took place around that time, and I wasn't involved in the decision, but I assume that had some
The
factor.
contents you took out of the tank, you say they, what were the characteristics of them for the community? What, were they volatile? Were they reactive? Were, the cement was contaminated?
Some of the cement had, well, it depends on the particular constituents that were previously stored in the tanks, okay? That's why we had some loads going someplace that were classified for disposal at EnviroSafe in Oregon, Ohio. Some of it was acceptable at the Elba landfill. So depending on what the constituents were and what qualified for disposal at the various locations, then we made the distinctions from there.
And when so in answering to her question about the chemicals affecting the public health, then you're saying that the characteristics of the contents of the tank pose no health threat to the community?
As they were in the ground and as they were removed and transported off-site,
As they were in the
that's
ground,
correct.
as they were removed, and as they were transported off-site.
That's correct.
I have three parts. My first one is concerning the area monitoring that you said you did on the fence line area. What areas are you talking about that you monitored? Were you monitoring specifically to the site, or did you go out to the community to do some area monitoring?
There was area monitoring around the fence line of the site and at the specific piles.
So primarily your monitoring focuses on the site. You did not go into the community and do any monitoring at all.
No.
We didn't see any, we saw nothing at the
My next
perimeter.
question.
So there's no need to go
The
beyond.
contents of the tanks that were removed, and you said when you pulled them out, there was no contents in the tank, correct?
There was
In
some
your earlier,
concrete.
in your earlier presentation, you said you removed 14 tanks, and there was no
Right.
contents, they all had cement, right?
I said the soil, they were classified as soil and debris.
Okay, well, there was one tank that had something in it. We were told it was gasoline.
There was a,
Right.
there was a,
Tank,
there was
tank
a
number
500 gallon
500 gallons of
gasoline tank.
gasoline. That's all it had was gasoline, right? My next question is, you guys had a meeting with the city concerning the development of that site and the potential future. Why was this community excluded from that meeting?
Is this relevant to the discussion of the remediation and the future plans for where we're going with things here?
I wouldn't ask.
Okay. I suggest you discuss that with your city representatives.
Discuss with our city representative. But aren't you in charge of the site?
No, I'm not.
No?
No.
Well, who's in
I'm
charge of the
responsible
site?
for the remediation program.
But that site happens to be in our community.
I understand
Okay,
that.
and I guess I should address my concern to you, and I will address my concern to the assistant director of the city, Mr. Mendez, too. We want to know why this community was excluded and what you have planned to do with that site, since any type of remediation activity that you do at that site will determine the future use of it.
I think your question about exclusion is in light of the opportunity we've got here tonight to present some of our plans. If we got 10 minutes to get to the
I
plans.
understand
And the opportunity we had yesterday to talk in considerable detail about the program that we've got here. I think your question about the issue of exclusion from the process, I take exception to that, I guess. That
Well,
when a discussion about the remediation,
I can
there's a
understand
lot
you
of
taking
discourse going
exception
back
to
and
it.
forth, and I anticipate that this discourse is going to continue in the future because I think this is a good forum to convey ideas back and forth, and we got a lot of good feedback yesterday on things.
What I
So
was trying to establish is so that the community is aware, just like we were made aware, okay? That's why I posed the question to you, all right?
okay.
I'm not being a, what you call, a go-between or fairy tale between you and the community, all right? We want to get it from the source. That's why I posed the question. We would like for you to tell us as a community
Right.
why we were excluded from that particular situation, especially when it pertains to what you're going to do with that site, which is located in our community and could potentially affect the way our community is developed.
Rich, can you help me out here, Doc?
First of all, Mr. Webster's right, it's not within his jurisdiction, as far as I know. He's in charge of cleaning up sites and not disposing of it. There was, and I don't know how long ago there was a general meeting between some of the city people with economic development and land use. Some of the representatives of BASF. It was a very general meeting to talk about what some possibilities were, generic possibilities for using the site. There were some questions about who owned which particular pieces of the site, whether the site was all owned by the same company or whether it was owned by different companies. The city had a couple of questions about ownership, where the ownership boundaries were, and had some general questions about what the intentions of the company were in terms of further use. It was a very generic discussion, it was a specific discussion about specific plans, and the discussion had nothing to do with the level of cleanup. Cleanup is running under its own power and will be done in consideration of health and safety issues and not in consideration of future use of the site. The use of the site is very problematic.
I have to correct you on that statement, sir, because in the report that BASF sent out to us and to you on May the 17th, it stipulated that any remediation activity that it do at the site would depend on future development of the site.
Sure.
Okay?
The two things go hand in hand, and
From the perspective of the city,
Yes.
the adequacy of the cleanup will be judged by the city in terms of health and safety considerations.
Okay, and I'm quite sure that due to the adequacy of that cleanup, you will determine what type of development will go on that site. Am I wrong with that assumption or not?
I'll repeat what I just said. The city will make a determination about whether or not it deems the cleanup adequate based upon health and safety considerations.
Let's move on. I have a question. I was told that you had sent some information to me.
yes,
I did not receive it.
send it through Mr. Mendez.
The only thing I received from Mr. Mendez was two, one dated April the 2nd and one dated May 5th.
Okay.
This is the only thing I've received.
Okay.
Which
Fine.
I
I gave
shared with-
Mr. Curry another copy of it
With
tonight. I
Long
was-
Side.
yeah.
And I just
No, you
wanted,
did not. You, at
and,
the meeting,
I gave it to him tonight.
okay, I just wanted to let everyone know that I have not received anything from BASF or from the city except these two pieces of paper. And as soon as this is over with, we got a more important business to take care of. So I want them to go ahead and finish their presentation. Then Evanston, you got some business to take care of. So that this kind of situation and other things are happening at City Hall that we are not being aware of, we're being overlooked, and until we get on the ball, we're gonna always be like that. So will you go ahead
Okay.
and finish your presentation?
Great. If I could, I'd like to, that last section I'd like to address is what our plans are from here. And for the commencement of some of the remediation activities at the site. When I was here last time around, I talked about some of the concepts that we were tossing around to deal with some of the things we identified on the site previously. And what I've got for you here tonight is the first step in the process. Actually, the first step was the tank removal work that was done over the last couple of months. The next step along the way is this system that we're proposing here. Let me show you here. We've got a handout, people, just so you can follow along a little bit more closely here. You can pass these around. Who owns the site? Working for you. No, not good. There's three different parts to the site. Okay, there's a site. Here's Dana Avenue. Here's Montgomery. Okay, BASF owns from the railroad track towards Dana Avenue, and on the other side of the railroad track toward to the northern property line. In between, the railroad is owned by Norfolk and Southern Railroad. Okay, so that complicates things here quite a bit, but it's, that's something we're dealing with. Let me tell you a little bit about what our plans are with this. The
University, that's your point.
Pardon? The remediation plan that we're looking at now addresses the area of the site that we had identified during our investigation as being the most impacted from the historic operations of the site. There's one point I want to stress, make sure people understand, is that the remediation is something that addresses 100 years of use of the site. It's not something that arose just as a result of the explosion. Okay, that's an important distinction here. And one of the things we saw along the railroad tracks, that's where we had the highest concentrations of the chemical constituents used on the site. By the way, Jim's my watchdog for jargon. If I get tied up in jargon, it's things you don't understand. If I use any terminology, please stop me and let me know, and I'll try to change from there. We have proposed here what's called a vapor extraction system. And what this entails is wells that go down about 12 feet. You're down to, there's a clay layer along this railroad track, about 12 feet down. Above there, there's sands and gravels that have these types of compounds that we saw all over the site here that in the highest concentrations. This system will pull a vacuum, a very strong vacuum on the soils, to pull the air out of the soils and collect them. All right, and in the process of doing that, it pulls off these compounds, these things that are very volatile, the kind of compounds that are part of gasoline, the toluene, xylene, ethylbenzene, those kind of compounds that come off, they get stripped off the soils and pulled in through some piping network there. It also pulls out the water that's in the soils. Then in the that's routed to a small house that'll be up on the northern part of the site here, and in there the water will go through a carbon treatment system, through a charcoal system, where the compounds will be taken out of the water, then discharged to the municipal sewer district from there. We're applying for permits for all this system, for the water discharge to the sewer, for the air emissions. All those are being applied for now. Any other permits, construction permits, et cetera, that would be involved in this are also going to be applied for. The other component of the plan at this point is a soil pile to treat soils from various parts of the site. And that's what you see in pink on here is some of the areas that we've identified that under any kind of remediation program for the site are going to have to be addressed in some way. And these different areas will be excavated and put into a pile over here. And the pile will be covered with plastic. All right, and in the pile will be plastic pipes with slotted screens, and we're going to blow air or pull air through the pile to do essentially the same thing we're doing in the ground, only in the pile here. It'll be covered. There'll be a cover liner underneath it, and there'll be a small house associated with that, where there'll be a blower to pull the air through, and again the permits for this system are being pursued. So it's kind of two steps at this point, and this is the first cut. These are, as I said, these are the areas that under any kind of more comprehensive remediation program, these areas are going to be addressed. Anyhow, we thought we could proceed with these things and not jeopardize any future decisions as to which way we go with other work from here. So in general, that's the layout of the system. You'll see some work going on out here. Our target is to do this summer. Hopefully in August we can get rolling with this if the permitting process goes all right as we anticipate, and we'll start remediating the site at that point. So that's our criteria for that. And I'll stress also these are fairly common technologies that are used all over the country to deal with similar types of contaminants and similar types of situations there, both in in situ or in place, like we're doing along here, or in a pile like this. So there's, as I said, common technologies, and there's some in the area too that are being done. There's a commercial facility, in fact, nearby that employs the same kind of technology.
Yeah, you're saying, we know that in order for the system to work with the bioaspiration, like you're talking about, that it needs a high level of carbon, and you're saying that there's enough of these chemicals up there in the ground for the system to be able to work. There's a high enough level of concentration of chemicals with this mixture of high volatile compounds.
I'm not quite clear as to what's the
When I'm
question?
asking you, you're saying that, for the system to work,
Yeah.
there has to be a high level of carbon there. And you were mentioning these
Yeah.
compounds like xylene and toluene.
Right.
What you're telling us is there's a high enough level of these concentrations
Yes.
of chemicals up there for the system to work.
Yes.
Okay. Also, can you tell the community how far down the contamination goes in different areas in the site?
Where we
I know you
sampled,
told
yes.
us, but,
Yeah.
I would prefer you tell the whole people.
Sure, where we sampled, yes. In the area where we're installing this system along the tracks here, there's a clay layer about 12 feet down, 10 to 12 feet, something in that neighborhood. And pretty much all above that is where we've seen, throughout that whole column, is where we've seen the contaminants from the site. And this will address that whole 10 to 12 feet area through there.
What about the area closer to Montgomery Road, which you spoke about?
Down area closer to Montgomery Road, down here?
Yes, right up in there. You were talking about how far you had to dig down, and you still haven't reached bedrock, but you're
Oh,
finding
okay.
contaminants.
All right, sure, over in here. That goes back to some of the findings from the investigation from last time around that I reported on. We drilled holes down to about 80 feet in some areas here, and even at those depths, we saw some trace concentrations of some of the compounds from the site. So
what you're saying, the contamination on top was higher, and as you went further down, it decreased, or
Yeah.
or was it the other way?
no, it was there was trace concentrations at a considerable depth there.
And again, all that information will be in the repository.
That's all. Yeah, it's all in the reports.
You have monitoring this,
The program, monitoring it, the program's being reviewed by Ohio EPA. You know, they are involved with, we pass our reports by them, we pass our work plans by them. In fact, I was at the site today with the representative from Ohio EPA reviewing these plans with him. Different agencies within Ohio EPA will be reviewing the permit applications. Other local agencies, the City Department of Environmental Management is advised of what's going on with the investigations and the remediation plans. The other local agencies that have permit authority over this type of stuff are also being involved with these systems.
Some questions before you wrap up. One is, since you already have a remediation plan here, at what level in this plan will the public be allowed?
This is a lot of the discourse in yesterday's discussion and input from there, some of the comments you've given us.
This is the only participation that we're going to have in the remediation plan.
You have that, we're going to provide the permit applications here, you'll be able to review them, welcome any comments on those. You know, we're not proposing something that's, you know, that's inconsistent with.
I'm not saying that.
No,
What I'm
no,
asking is, at what level will the public be able to be allowed to participate in your remediation plan?
Where I guess I answered that generically in the sense that wherever there are public participation opportunities within the formal permitting process, whatever, that clearly that avenue is available. Additionally, these opportunities, yesterday's opportunity today, and at future steps along the way, we welcome the input at that point too. We'll take those points into consideration.
The technology you're talking about using soil vapor extraction, you're going to use any air quality at all?
No.
No? They reason why?
The site conditions weren't amenable to it.
We're going to get them.
I mean, they weren't right to use it.
They weren't right to use that. Well, what's the possibility of you having a failure or backup in the sewer system, in the soil evaporation? That is a possibility, is it not?
No.
It's not?
No, the reason is that with the sewer system, the discharge to the sewer, there is a backup in the carbon treatment now, and you've got a series of charcoal canisters. There's a breakthrough on the first carbon canister. The second carbon canister is clean and will prevent any
In other words,
discharges to the sewer.
you guys are
So
concerned
it's
that
not
there could
gonna-
be a potential backup in the sewer system that could lead
An
to explode.
That's correct.
explosion, fire.
That's correct. Okay. Thank you.
We would like to have you from now on, your business, to contact NAWCET along with the council whenever you're sending information out. I know the door has given you their address and their telephone number. So that, because they are an environmental committee, they should be notified along with the council.
Ms. Wiley, can we add that? Or may I add that? Yesterday afternoon, myself and Ms. Doherty, Ms. Stewart, Mitchell, and our attorney, Mr. Knight, in the back, had the opportunity to sit down with these gentlemen. We had some pretty intense conversations, but we did get some things accomplished. The thing I would like for you to know is that we did present BASF with a total of something like 37 questions. Out of the 37 questions, tonight they came in and answered 3 of these. So I will let you determine what is relevant to you as a community and what is in your best interest and what is of concern to you. you should be aware of what's going on at that particular site. And as Mr. Webster said, the city is monitoring the site, but you as a citizen should also be monitoring. You should be monitoring the city, and you should be monitoring BASF. And the reason I say this to you is because of the potential that that site had on this community. Do not let what happened in Michigan happen again. The possibility is there. It will happen, but the possibility is there. I'm not here to dispute the capability of groundwater technology or BASF technology and the approach the way they're doing it. What I am here is to make sure that our community is not faced with another fatality. That's why Ms. Wally gave the majority of myself permission to pursue this. So we have pursued it as diligently as we possibly can. And the 37 questions that we asked BASF came from the two reports that BASF generated to provide to this community to inform you and keep you abreast of what's happening. So there were 37 questions. He answered 3 of them, and those 3 were, they're not going to provide money for you to provide independent testing. They're not going to do any sampling in the community. And the 3rd one, I don't need to repeat it. I'm quite sure you heard it. So that's the follow-up that we have now set. As I said, BASF only answered 3 of the 37 questions that we put before them. You have the literature in front of you of the rest of the 34. Thank you.
Mr. Curry, did you give them those questions before they came yesterday?
Yes, ma'am.
Or were they given to them yesterday?
We gave the initial 14 to them a month ago, February 19th. These 16 that we gave to them yesterday in our initial meeting.
Can Mr. Hall respond to that?
Okay.
Ms. Welly, thank you. I'm Jim Hall. I received the questions, the initial 14 questions that you mentioned, Mr. Curry, 2 days ago. I know that they were presented to Mr. Webster at the February meeting.
February 19th.
Yes, and I would indicate to you that those questions dealing with things that happened in 1989 and 1990 and 1991, I'm sure they speak for themselves. Those 14 questions go well beyond the scope of what Mr. Webster's doing here in the remediation activities. The other questions I would indicate to you folks, Mr. Webster spent at least an hour yesterday going through them on Ms. Doherty asked them one by one, and I believe that those were all
And half
answered.
of them said, I don't know.
Okay, what I would like to do, sir, is that those 14 questions that you were given last February and the, how many yesterday, 16 yesterday, if you would take time to answer those questions, send a copy to Dora and also send a copy to the council. So that if we need to, we can ask you to come back again and we'll have the answer to those questions. If you can't answer them, just say we don't have the information, and then we will know what to do from there.
We will, let me say this, that the 14 questions in particular pose questions that I'm not sure can be answered, but we will review those questions. And Set's lawyers have been in touch with us before. Mr. Onion is here. They'll continue to be in touch with us, and we will respond to those.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We will go back to our agenda. Where's the cop came down?
Argue.
That's okay, he'll be in. We'll ask Ms. Monroe to give us the treasurer's report.
First, I'd like to apologize for being late this afternoon.
You're gonna have to speak loud because we got to do this right.
First, I'd like to apologize for being late this afternoon. We have 5 receipts. We got a beginning balance of $428.43, and deposits otherwise was 5 deposits, total $543.50. We had disbursements of 2 disbursements. They total $46.25. Balance on hand as of 6/17/93 is $925.68. Now, some of the deposits were for a talent show that the city safety department was putting on here with the recreation, and that totaled $425. So that leaves us a balance of $500.68 for the treasurer for the council. Respectfully submitted, William Monroe, treasurer.
Okay, you've heard the treasurer's report. What is your pleasure?
I move that the treasurer's report be accepted.
Has it been moved? Is there a second to that? It's been moved and properly second that the treasurer's report be received as read pending audit. Question? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Nay. There being none, the treasurer's report will be accepted. I wanted to say something about this treasurer's report. We received from Invest $432.50. That money was given to us because we are invest in neighborhoods. However, that particular amount of money has to be used for specific things that we said we were going to do with it, which was to
Stationary
stationary,
and funny.
hobby games,
Club.
and the parade expense. So that money automatically comes out of the balance that you heard. Okay, where's my phone? Get lost. Okay, dollars for scholars. Is Miss Williams still here? She was here. I don't know where she's gone. You wanted to know how many Evanston youth had received the dollars for scholars. I called her and asked her to come and give us some information, and she's gone. So she did tell me that there had been 6 youth from Evanston, but she thought there was 8 that had received the scholarships. But our treasurer is still low, and we're going to table that. I'm going to table that for next month. Day in Eden.
Okay. Day in Eden is this 26th and 27th of June. From the hours of 12 noon to 9 p.m. We still need volunteers. You can contact myself, would probably be the best way. My phone number is 731-7302. We're having popcorn booth, lemonade booth, and a hot dog booth. Hot dogs, meaning hot dogs, brats, and mets, okay? We've had volunteers from all of our families. We've had volunteers from Talbot House, and we have volunteers from work. But I think it's, kind of ironic if we don't get any volunteers from Evanston. I mean, this money is being spent right here in Evanston, and I anticipate if we got 3 booths, well, one booth is going to be for the seniors. I think the
recreation
popcorn
center.
booth, all their money is going to go to recreation seniors, okay? So that leaves us the lemonade and the hot dog, which is not bad. So, I mean, I anticipate a great revenue coming in, but we need the people there to make it work, okay? So just give us 2 hours of your time, either Saturday or Sunday. All will be greatly rewarded.
Okay, the Ledgewood closing, Ms. Brown is out of town, but I'm going to ask Dora to give a report on the closing of Ledgewood, and then I will come back and give some more.
Okay. Well, can I give my whole report?
Yes.
Okay. On stamping technology, the former owner, Maurice Green, has been indicted by the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office for RCRA violations, so the federal registration violations that involve hazardous materials. And he has 16 counts. There are counts like improper record keeping and things of that nature, operating without a license and all of that. I have spoken with, I have submitted a FOIA request on stamping technology in order to receive a complete report on everything that's going up there, and I'm just awaiting the response to that. Wallace Industries, I know, again, all the blue ink all over the ground. We have talked to the Cincinnati Health Department. They have spoken with the Ohio EPA. He was supposed to have gotten a machine to clean the sidewalk in the street, but we have not seen that happen as yet. As you know, we've had these big storms, and all the rain collects back there. There are just puddles of blue. So I'm calling them, asking them what's going on for the report, and they're saying they're preparing the report so that the information will be available for the community. Ledgewood closing. The Ledgewood closing was discussed at the Public Works Committee on Monday, and despite community opposition, the Public Works Committee, which was chaired by John Messina, passed his request for closure by Xavier University onto the Planning Commission via the full council. And at the full council meeting, the vote was 5-4 for closure. Mayor Sina, Strauss, Stern, Gear, Server voted for closure. I've been talking with Nana and also Ms. Wally and other members of the Evanston community, and they would like to have a meeting next week. That hasn't been confirmed yet, which day, Tuesday or Thursday, that it will be, but we will get notice out. But what they're doing is planning not so much a demonstration, but they want as many people from the communities surrounding Xavier as possible to show up down at City Hall on July 2nd to show them, enforce that we do not want this street closed. This is a planning committee hearing. Also, I'm talking with Ms. Krause of NANA. We are beginning to explore the legislation and such as the Highway Transportation Act, Environmental Policy Act, and other acts that are relevant here, which could possibly show where the city is not acting properly in their, I don't know if I would like to say haste, but it seems that way, to close Leibold. So we are looking at the legal aspect of this as well.
You said July the 2nd or
July, well, I would go July 2nd.
The planning committee?
Planning.
What time?
I don't have a time on that. Just that. But we're hoping to get flyers and bullhorns and everything out. Talk to your friends, relatives, let them know this is going on. I'm not hanging too. Show the hanging too.
Okay, what?
There was a woman here last month who lives on Ledgewood.
Ms. Brown? Was it Ms. Brown?
Can I get her name and phone number?
Yeah.
Try and talk to her prior to this meeting and get some background on what's
Okay.
been going on over there.
Okay. Mr. Mendez?
Piece of information, we get formal notice, but since I was here, I wanted to note to you that as of now, the Leibold closing is scheduled to be heard before the Planning Commission June 25th, I think is the day, a week from tomorrow. It was normal session.
June 25th at what time, sir?
I believe it's either 9 or 10.
And that's room 226, correct?
226, we'll get the formal notification. But I just want to make sure that we're clear as to the date of the
9.
commissioner. It's a week from tomorrow.
My understanding of the procedure is that Xavier asked for the city to vacate that street. Public Works Committee took it under consideration. Council, Nana wasn't notified, neither was Evanston. Nana has people down in City Hall that keeps them informed. Last September, I was called and told about it. That time I called traffic engineering, they told me they didn't think that was going to happen because Ledgewood was a through street. I want you to listen to what City Hall is saying, people who work there who do these things constantly. December or November, I asked Gary to go to Nana's meeting because Xavier was going to be there again. At that meeting, Nana again told Xavier they do not want to close Ledgewood. Gary, representing Evanston, told Xavier we did not want Ledgewood closed. I was not notified by letter until either I think it was February. I received a letter from Xavier expressing their concerns about closing Ledgewood. Neighborhood Housing Conservation, Mr. Tibbs, Guilford Tibbs, who works for us, with us, gave me the information, the packet that Xavier had presented to the city, because I still had not received that from Xavier. It's their proposal. I got that packet later on that week. A representative did call me wanting to know how Evanston felt. I invited them to come to the community council. And, well, first they wanted to meet with me by myself, and I said no. And then I invited them to come to council. They came April the 15th, which was the night of the big fire. Also the last day for taxes, and there were only 7 people here. They did attend, I think it was last month, May. They came back and tried to tell us what they wanted to do. In the meantime, in April the 26th, we had a big public meeting down at City Hall. Those of who I could notify, I did come down, and we spoke as a unit against the closing. Wednesday or Tuesday? When does council met? Wednesday.
Oh.
When we again went down to Public Works Monday to express again that we did not want it closed. However, did not have the votes on that committee. It was set. I called and talked to people, and it was their feeling that Xavier should have the property vacated. But let me go back. The Thursday, the night of the big storm, before Monday, we met here because neighborhood housing had been told to arrange a meeting between Nana, Evanston, and Xavier. My letter said alternatives to closing Ledgewood. Xavier got the same letter. Nana got the same letter. When we met and I asked them if this is what they were here for, we were told no. They were not here for alternatives. They were here to build a relationship with the 2 communities. Knowing that that's not the reason they were here, we dispensed with that meeting, but we still talked. At that meeting, the representative from Xavier said they would like to vacate Ledgewood because they wanted to unify their campus to make them more competitive with other colleges. That was the number 1 issue, not the safety issue. Because we had come up with good ideas if there was really a safety issue. In the 5 previous years, there's only been 3 people hit on Ledgewood, 1 on Dana, and numerous of accidents. However, anybody driving down Ledgewood knows that them students are just going to walk out. I walk out in front of traffic too if I know they're going to stop. You know, because I know people don't want that on their drivers. I'm going to stop for them. But when we went Monday, everybody was going around beating around the bush. I just told them how I felt. That the reason we were here was because Xavier wanted to make their college more competitive. I don't have a fight with Xavier. That's not my fight now. Xavier's doing what any good business people would do. They're going to be competitive. They got to make money for their college. My fight now is with City Council. Because we are taxpayers. They are there to look out for our interests. We pay city tax. We pay property tax. We have the right to ask them not to vacate a street in our community that is a linkage for us to other communities. Number 1, that was a lifesaver for us when the blast happened because everyone knows Montgomery Road was tied up and you couldn't get through. If you needed to go to Norwood, you could go down Ledgewood and come up the back way. If we needed to go in Avondale, North Avondale, Bond Hill, and you couldn't get down Montgomery Road, that was our lifeline. We still have chemical companies in this community. If something happens, like you said, if that sewer backs up and a blast happens, what happens? Our representatives are not looking out for our best interests. That was for Ledgewood. Mr. Curry made another observation. The city met with BASF, but they have never called me to see if I wanted to be there or send a representative. Evanston is being ignored. I don't want to say this is a race issue, but because we're small, we don't speak out, we don't have the power, we don't go down to City Hall, we don't know what's going on, we are getting stepped on. You got to go back and tell your neighbors, your friends, those who live in Bond Hill, Roseline, downtown, over the Rhine, Walnut Hills, wherever. We need your support because it's going to be by word of mouth that we get things done. We are not a black neighborhood, we're an integrated neighborhood. We work with the Coalition of Neighborhoods that has 5 other neighborhoods with us. They were here to help us as a technician to ask questions of Xavier as to what was going on. And because we asked pointed questions, that's how we got the information that we know what's going on. Dora had some good advice for us. I put her in contact with the people who are going to do what is necessary for us. We got to fight. And our fight is not with BASF, it's not with Xavier, it's with our representatives on council who are not for the little person, the taxpayer. It's for the big business. Number one, and here lately I've been losing my train of thought, excuse me, because I got so much going on. Number one, you pay taxes. Number two, if you go down there and talk to someone, you get the runaround. How are you going to take a street and close it pending what you're going to do to Dana Avenue, the S curve? That little curve that goes around by Xavier going down to Victory Parkway. They're going to close Dana and straighten that out. They got $925,000 as an estimate to straighten out the S curve. Xavier's going to pay them $166,000 for the street. They're going to also give them $400,000 to go towards closing the S curve. So my estimate is that we, as taxpayers, are going to pay for them to straighten out the S curve so we don't have to use Leibold.
That's your question?
This is just the tip of the iceberg, people. That is the tip. They closed Harold 30 years ago. They're going to close Leibold. Next is going to be Victory Parkway. Next is going to be Dana, and you're going to be hemmed in. So be aware.
That $900 and some odd $1,000 you said to straighten out the S curve, does that include buying the property that's going?
No. They're going to impose
No.
that domain.
No.
Some time ago, I don't know what happened to that.
People got out. People got out. But see, we have a community that there's a lot of elderly people who can't get out at night and go down to City Hall. But now I want you all to think about that. We are going to pay for them to close Leibold. Our tax dollars and other people's tax dollars. And there again,
I know you're repeating yourself because I heard you on TV. That's one thing that you forgot to say, that you said on TV.
about the omen.
They're there only 9 months.
That's right.
And we're there a
12
lifetime.
months. That's
But
right.
you forgot yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
People that can't get out and go to City Hall,
Write letters. Call.
petition or.
We're going to do that too. We're going to get petitions and take them down there. But you can call your council person, you can send letters and tell them exactly what you want. And like I told them at City Hall, there has been a bad omen about this whole thing with me and Xavier. This is just for me. When we met with them the first time, the 5-alarm fire was over there in Walnut Hills. The second time we met with them, we had the storm, that terrible storm on Thursday. When we met on Monday, I didn't get home till we had another storm, a bad storm. That should tell people something. They better be careful. Yes, ma'am.
You better be writing letters to Hillary and Gates, the mayor.
No, ma'am. You need to call them 5 people. Strauss, Suber, Beer, Merlicina, and who's the other one? Stern. Our favorite council person.
Let me get this right, because sometimes okay, have they actually approved the closed Leibold?
Yes.
It's gone to the planning committee.
Okay, now, what do immediately get them to stop?
Call all them 5 people that I told you about. Call them. Tell them how you feel, and have your friends to call them. Ms. Day.
I know that the gentleman said that the meeting will be the 5th, which is next week. Is there a way that you would be able to get in contact with the churches in this area, as well as the churches surrounding this area, by Sunday with written information, as well as maybe a representative?
We're in the process of getting letters typed up so that we can let our churches know, because that's how we stopped. And my understanding is that's how they stopped it before, with the masses of people that use that street. See, a lot of people don't know that's going to happen. When it happens, we intend to do something else, but I'm not going to tell you what that is. At this time, I took up enough time. We're going to the Back on the Block program. Ms. Day and Ms. Mapp, I want you to come. Yeah, I got them.
One quick question on that.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have people living on the street?
Yes.
At least 6.
We have a whole, we have
How are they
a,
going to get in and out of the street? Is this like a...
the people who
You have a
are
train
going to
coming
be
from
on that, in that area, they'll be allowed to drive. There's 2 taxpayers who agreed to them doing this. They'll be allowed to go in. But on the corner, where they're going to put the cul-de-sac, my sister's aunt lives there. They did not even ask her if she wanted to be included, because she's on the corner. She can get in on the side street. Okay.
Can I ask you a question? What harm would it do if we all got together as a community and went on Leibold and carried signs?
Nah. But before I get to Ms. Day and Ms. Mapp, let me tell you this too, because I need to know how you feel. Xavier wants to be our neighbor. This is serious now. They used to be good neighbors, and Mr. Kushi came to me after the meeting Wednesday and wanted me to ask you if you would like for us to work with them and tell them exactly what they can do for us as a community. By no means is this a payoff. This is not a payoff for Ledgewood, but he wants to meet with me, and I told him I couldn't do that, but I would bring it to you and see what you want to do, and we can talk about that later. But I want to get to Ms. Day and Ms. Mapp, and they're our lead agency for the Back on the Block. Mr. Raleigh is one of our, you're the supervisor up here?
This is team support.
He's a team support person, and we're going to tell you what's going to happen this summer with the Back on the Block program and our kickoff.
Well, thank you very much. I got very interested in what you were saying, so I was willing to just sit there and listen again. Exactly 1 year ago, I looked at this big folder here. Minutes says I was standing right here on June the 18th. Back on the Block is ready to start again, and the Human Involvement Project serves as the lead agency. What tends to happen for the last 2 or 3 years is that United Way agencies serve as lead agencies with different communities. let me say to Evanston Community Council, we are in no way saying that we talk for your community. And one of the reasons that I'm here is because I want to hear from people what they would like to see in their community. Our office is right over the hill there on Victory Parkway and at 637 East Macmillan. To cut it short, what I did do was bring applications. Last year, we found that that process worked fairly well. And as I said, I have this big, thick file, which the agents, our file record here. We were able to account for every dollar that was spent. We had meetings with the Evanston team. We notes of those meetings. We also talked about all of the applications that came in, and believe me, we had plenty of applications coming in for $2,000. Evanston received a very low amount last year. As a result of good record keeping, which our agency did with your help because you were involved in the meetings, and having a very good audit trail, and keeping statistics. Now, I know we talk about how the system says you can't have, but when you get ready to prove that you want something bigger, you have to back it up with data. And Mrs. Mack, who is one of the coordinators, was the coordinator last year from our agency, and Mr. Wilson, Gary Raw, and Mrs. Nafisa, Ms. Wallace, we put down everything. At the time of the evaluation, HIP said, you talked about small community, but the community had X number of people involved all year long and stretched $2,000 and had more people involved than some of the communities that were much larger. We backed it up with facts. As a result, this year, Evanston is receiving $5,000. And I think you need to know that it was not only HIP's input, I will say, it was the documentation, but it was a unified effort. And I'd like to add one more thing before I ask persons to come in or take an application, and then I'll get with you,
Yeah,
Gary.
we'll see before you leave.
Okay, good.
Okay.
And set up a meeting first thing next week?
Okay.
Okay. I'd like to say a couple of things. This is an integrated community, and this is an integrated meeting. But I have no problem in saying in front of the majority community what I would say to my own people. And it's based on facts. As long as we fight about petty things, we will miss the boat on the big picture. And this is one of the big pictures as you were talking about today. And I'm so glad I'm here, and I'm coming back next month because I am very interested in what is happening, and I think this is a good example. Back on the Block started 2-3 years ago, and it's very interesting how we do the infighting over a few pennies. One of the things that came out in the steering committee was that communities, this is your opportunity to look at a few dollars and decide how you can maximize those dollars to do something meaningful all year long, not just 1 year, not just during the summertime. See, the reason you got the money to begin with is because somebody killed some white person down near Music Hall. And this was one of a real problem that has been seething for a long time. And it's not a matter of being racist. No, I'm not. I'm saying these are facts. When somebody hurt somebody else enough times, we get busy to put out money. And we fail to think about what the underlying causes may be. The next thing I'd like to share with you tonight about back on the block and what you need, I hope you will be thinking about, is do you want to party all summer long?
No.
If so, you are going to not get the maximum use of your dollar.
We do not want to party.
I'd like for you to think about, and when we have a meeting, whenever Gary, and whenever other people and Mrs. Mapp involved, and we'll have the meeting early next week, I'd like for you to give good thought
Ms.
to
Day,
how you want to use it.
we do not want to party.
All right.
You have gotten
Last,
from the top.
I want to hear that, because one of the things that really disturbed me, and I know I made some people mad when they brought in the receipts and said, oh, but we want this, 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 and this. And I said, not my business manager, I said, we are consumers. Isn't there something that youth can be exposed to that they can take with them at least up here? If they eat it all up, it's in the stomach, and that's it. All right, I hear you.
We're going to have one kickoff.
All right,
That's
fine.
it.
I have no problem with that.
But we have some things.
Okay.
We can't afford to party because the policeman officers that comes here, he told us he was at the center Monday that he wouldn't be here tonight because Evanston now have the highest crime rate of any community.
That's
right
not
now.
true. That's not
He said
true.
it's done past Madisonville.
That's not
That's
true.
That's what Officer Goodlow said Monday.
But that
That's
is
not true.
It's high, but it's not the highest.
Well, he said it had passed Madisonville, which was the highest.
Okay, it's not true.
It went
I
down
was,
last month, but it has recently.
Let me say the problem there on the floor. Ms. Day, I just want to steering committee meeting. I had a meeting with the president and with Gary and Mr. Monroe. And we wrote up what we wanted, to be done. I told them I am the liaison, I am the state liaison. And we're going to implement the program that we got. You would like our program. For an example, we got a program about toxicity, recycling and everything, a very good program that can go all year long. Teaching the youth right now how to recycle. Because after a while, we're going to be paying for this water. Everybody's going to want to jump in on it. We want to teach them while they're young. It's an all-year program. I have one, she had one. We're going to combine them together, and that's going to be part of that paper. Now, we've already met. We got a kickoff together. We're going to ask you if you want to talk at the kickoff.
Nobody want to hear me talk.
But we still supposed to act, but with the kickoff, I think the 23rd, Gary, 23rd from 4 to...
Well, we need to discuss today because Warner Hills they're having their kickoff on the 24th, and we don't want to have it the same day.
But this is for Evanston.
Yeah,
But we work
understand
with
that.
them,
We
too.
work in conjunction with Warner Hills on a lot
Well,
of
may,
things.
so
All we
that,
gotta do is communicate.
okay, fine.
Communication is the key.
May I share one other thing, because when you share things, you share it all the way. Last year, as the lead agency, we took $200 off 10% of the revenue that was for Evanston Community. This year, we will take 10% of that. But I always like for the community to know. See, when you know things up front, then you don't have to go back. The reason being is that I do ask our secretary to sit in, take minutes, our business manager to make sure that you got a good audit report, a good place. One piece that I missed last year that I would like to do this year, Madam President, is that at the end of the summer, I would like to return or ask Mrs. Mapp to return and give you not only the programmatic report, but the financial report, because I think it needs to be a part, and I know members of your team had it last year, but it needs to be a part of the council's document.
Absolutely.
So that you know exactly the data that I have in here, which says wrap up, how much was spent, when it was spent, how many went where, what were some of the little problems, and what did we need to see done the next year. And I'd like the community council to have that official report.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions in this day? Okay.
I got a question of you.
Yes, ma'am.
What does membership cost?
$3.
How much?
$3 individual.
Agency?
$50.
$50 for an agency.
Okay, because I was not aware of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
One more thing, we have our day for Evanston Day, August the 7th, and Ms. Sears is back there. You want to say something about it? Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to be the youth support worker for the Evanston area. These are the shirts that they gave us to wear in this area. I don't think they look as good as last year, but I can deal with it. And what I did, me, Ms. Wally, and Ms. Pinky Williams, we sat down the other day and we came up with some ideas that we'd like to implement during the summer. I'd like to read them off to you. And I also went out in the community and got some ideas from the kids to see what they wanted to do. And I also told the kids that these were not etched in stone because they asked for things like camping, and I don't think that would be feasible. I don't think. Okay, but okay, and I'd just like to read some of them off. They like to go Malibu, go-kart racing, Coney Island. They like to have a block party, skating, bowling, boat ride, and one I thought was really unique. They wanted to go to a restaurant, to an all-you-can-eat type of thing, and I thought that'd be interesting. Yeah, and some of the things that we came up as a group, Ms. Wally and Ms. Pinky Williams, were the Queen City tour, and that's to get the kids to know their city. Wilberforce, the Black Archives up there, and also Terminal downtown. Songs of My People. I'm still not sure. I think that's an art exhibit, right?
That's a photo.
Yes.
Photo exhibit.
Okay, we'd like to take them to that. And the Recycle Cincinnati that Ms. Williams spoke briefly on. The zoo in Indiana, the Children's Zoo, and the Miss Walker Museum up in Indiana somewhere. Where I don't know. And, pardon me? Yeah, the Children's Museum. That's it. And also, we we're going to continue some things we did last year, which worked very well. And that was the once-a-week Sawyer Point trip. We took them down once a week and just let them roam. And go back to Surf Cincinnati, the beach, and picnics in the park. And one other one that we were really proud of was the fishing trip that we took 7-year-olds on to 13, I think it was. They called it like something like 500 rupees. Yeah, and that was pretty fun. Boys and girls, yes. And the opera and Cincinnati Opera is having some type of free benefit. I didn't read the whole thing. We'd like to take them to that to get the kids to be exposed to some culture.
I would like to add to that last summer, human involvement took Evanston Children's Blue Jacket, which was an excellent outdoor theater of cowboys and Indians. They were truly excited because there were real guns and blood and gory stuff, and they really had a nice time. Matter of fact, one of the representatives from Evanston talked to me yesterday, and he wanted to know where we're going to do that again. And we have some other things which we hope to include Evanston in on those activities.
Well, most of these activities that you mentioned, I talked to one of your team workers, and we like to work together on a lot of these activities.
Okay, well this is for a human involvement project.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
This is for a human involvement project with children with the Blue Jacket.
And also, the girls have been asking me over and over about the camping. They like that.
This is one of the things that I said that I would personally explore. Again, they went camping. I just got a call from somebody last year who wanted the collaboration on it. And so I'll explore if that's possible.
Okay, may I tell you, the people that they went camping with was the church down on, across from the neighborhood house
Yes.
downtown. I forget the name of the streets, Freeman Avenue, I think, or somewhere
Right.
along there.
But that was as a result of somebody not showing
Yeah.
up, so then they called me.
That's the one they want to go to.
That's
believe
the
it or
one
not.
that they want to go to.
That's the one they want to go to. They got to do their own
Enjoy.
cooking and stuff like that.
Okay, let's
So,
move right on now.
Uh,
We're past our time.
Another thing, just a minute. Another thing, if you have any ideas, we'd be glad to listen to them and see what we can do about taking kids. Yes, sir.
One idea in particular I want to ask you, was there any concern of ours for taking some of our youth up to visit the state capitol so they can see some of their representatives?
No, that's a good idea. That's a very good idea. But you know, another thing, when we go on these long trips like that, we're going to most definitely need some volunteers.
I understand. I'll volunteer.
Okay. So, see us out there, you know. Hello.
Okay. Evanston Day?
Yeah, I guess
Yes.
Go ahead.
August the 7th, information here. I need some artists, anybody here can draw, and few artists.
Thank you. I want to introduce our NSP worker, Shemaya Crenshaw. She will be, you'll see her in the neighborhood, and we will start Saturday cleaning up streets from 8 to 12. You'll see some youth out there doing their little jobs. I want you to, if you got a street that needs to be cleaned, give the address, the street to Shemaya, and we'll try to get there sometime during the summer. The other thing is that
In your backyard.
no, you can't go on private property. We're going to also try to get some of these vacant lots that need to be cleaned up. We're going to also ask for the county to send us out people who do that free. So they may not be here this summer, but we will work on that. I'm going to still work for you all till August 31st. Very diligent.
Totally deserved. I mean, you are going to come to council.
Oh, when I can. Yes.
I did have something to add. Is everyone here on the council?
Most people are members, yes.
I'm looking for volunteers to do various jobs, and help me do various jobs in the community. One of the major things that I would like for people to do is to help me establish some of the block clubs. And what I would need is for people, they know somebody, or if they would like to start a block club, to get with me, and then I can work with them on strategy and start a block club. It doesn't take 30 people to start a block club. It only can be 4 or 5. But if you do know somebody, or if you yourself would like to start one, please contact me. Get my number before we leave. I don't have a home phone number right now, but I do have a voicemail system that everyone can use, and I check my messages daily.
Plus, we got $100 for 5 people who start block clubs. They can't be in the same area. Okay. I want to give you the floor. You said you had something to say about your house, and then I want to read the communication.
Okay, thank you. My name's Greg Newberry, and I live at 1933 Fairfax. I've been here about 7 years now. And this is a city-related situation, too.
Okay, we ready to fight them again?
No, I don't think there's a fight. I want to build a deck on the back of my house. And I went down to go through, I got the building plans I submitted. So I went down here last week. And there's 2 steps. One's the zoning department, and next is the actual plans review. So I didn't make it out of the zoning department because the deck I want to build is bigger than what I'm allowed to build it in. To give you an idea, my backyard is about from this wall over to here wide, and from there down to that midpoint between those 2 windows long. And I want to build the deck to come out to about this far. And the city says I can build it out this far. So I said, what do I have to do, you know, in order to get around that? And he said, there are 4 things I need to do. One, get them the exact dimensions, which I'm working on. The second is to talk to my neighbors on the adjacent property, people behind me and on each side, and then come down to the community council and get your permission too. So I'm trying to get this thing moving along. And I was wondering if do you have a mechanism, you know, is there a process we go through for this?
We look to our city people. Sandra, can you help us out with that? What we need to do as a council to get him permission to get that started? Do like Xavier did. They just built it. They don't have no permission.
I mean, would
No, I don't want to. I think it's a good idea.
Would a letter from the council be okay to say that we are in compliance, you know, we're in agreement with the deck and everything? It would not be something that would be a infringement on the neighborhood?
Sandra, would you find out if that's what he needs, and if so, then I can have our secretary do that.
Just, did the city give any reasoning? You know,
It's just a zoning.
Specific reasoning?
It's just a zoning. There's a series
There was
of,
nothing as far as, you know, slippage from land or anything of that nature that would be
You're not
involved?
putting anyone else's yard.
Right.
oh, no. And that's the thing, if I get my neighbors, the immediate, the
Right.
abutting property to sign it.
Have you did that?
Not yet, no. I figured I'd just start here.
Have you had any complaints from
But
your
if none of them sign it, I can't do it. I mean,
Well,
I'll have to build a little deck.
okay, well, will you find out first if your neighbors are gonna agree to it? Let us know, you know, send us a letter with their signature on it stating that they agree to it. And then
Okay.
we in turn can send the letter to City Hall. You get us the name and,
Is that how it works? You send the letter down here?
I don't know, Sandra's going to, okay.
We had a similar situation like that. Next door to our church, they were gonna build a brand new nursing home. The old one was dilapidated. All they wanted to do was build it up and that new and better. So they called. All we did, Nana sent a letter saying it was fine. Our church sent a letter. And the people on the other side sent a letter. And that's what we probably agreed.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
a
I'm
letter.
very sorry that I happen to have been in a situation like that because I've been in so many situations. And sometimes when I'm trying to be helpful to tell you something I know about, it comes like I'm a know-it-all. But the letter came to me because I represent the church, okay? And that's what we did. We had 3 signatures, neighbors, community, church.
Okay.
But we're next door.
And Sandra, you still let me know. Okay. And we'll,
Plus what she's gonna tell you.
you signed the book with your name and address,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Can I make a suggestion, or at least I got an idea here? If I were to get, could we like vote to assign somebody who would make the approval, provided that I got the signatures of my neighbors,
I'll send the letter.
just to try and, I don't want to rebuild this thing.
Sandra's our representative from the city.
Okay.
She has my work number. As soon as she contacts me and tells me, okay, that's all we need, I'll just mail it to you.
Great. All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
I want to get to this handout since our cop team left. They're on the afternoon shift. District 2, Captain Beal put this together. This is the violent crimes for 1992-93, and this is property crimes for 1992-93. 92, don't look at the line that goes straight through. That's just the copying machine. 92 is on this side for violent crimes. 93 is over here. If you look at it, February of this year was the only time that our crime rate went up. And it only went up about 5%. 5 more crimes for 93, but all the rest of them went down. We didn't have any murders in our area. This is for all District 2. This is not just for Evanston. This is all District 2. We didn't have any murders over here, but we had rapes, robberies, and aggravated assault. For property, I think that you can see that it was down all the way. And he said that this might be because of the new jail system that went into effect in October. I went to the president's meeting with District 2, and he asked me to bring this back to you. He wants the community to identify 3 issues, priorities in our community that deals with public safety that you want the police to respond to. We know drugs is one. I'm not out in the community at night, so I don't have my hand on the pulse of what's going on out there. But these are a few of the things that he has given me as a way of determining. Theft, grand and petty, property loss, breaking and entering, telephone harassment, menacing, simple assault, loss of stolen license plates, property damage, dog bites, auto thefts, hit and skip auto accidents, or gunshots. And I know there's some other things that you might have that you think are big issues.
One is you say you're not out there much at night, but I am. You know, and quite a few young youths that are roaming around in gangs, and starting to locate these pockets of that. The police will look into that because these young men are starting to get pretty aggressive and strong, starting to accost people as they're walking the street. I've had 2 altercations with them.
Gangs is
There'll
okay.
be groups of them somewhere, there'll be anywhere from 3 to maybe 10 of them. And they be in different areas all the time. They move all around, so they sort of like keep an eye on that and make sure that sometimes if you watch you, they're less inclined to be promiscuous. So if we're not watching them, they're going to do those type of things. But it's been more intense in the past 2 months, so we should look into that for sure.
Really has. I had a situation last week.
Okay. So gangs is one. Shemaya?
One thing I would like to see happen in Evanston, and I'm not being funny, but I would like to see a curfew of some type because, and this is just one part of it, but over there at St. Ledger, people are running across the street at 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, when you go by, no matter what you have on, men are barking at you. I would think it would be, I would like to see a curfew so that we don't have youth out at a certain time, or at least if they're out, they're not hanging out.
Okay, the city's not going to do a curfew, I can tell you that.
Yes, yes.
I would like to see the police, when they come to the neighborhood, to slow down, so they can see early.
Yeah.
Because there are times when the police be by you so fast, I know you didn't see the man at the corner, and he was doing everything wrong. There are times when you can park at McDonald's, you can park right there on the corner of the drive-through and see everything you're looking for.
Okay.
And everybody you've been looking for.
Are there any other things that you think that we need to?
When did you talk to District 2?
Last night.
Last night?
Yes, ma'am. I met with the,
It was the car stolen Friday night, right there, Mr. Child. There was a car stolen right on that road Friday night. That same car has been stolen about 3 times.
so,
This gang, as they call it.
car theft is one?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the police report, when they submit to you, is it possible they could give us a breakdown of felony assault and assault? In other words, when I say felony assault, it was committed with a weapon, you know, as opposed to someone that's having a domestic quarrel or fight.
Well, you know, this is something that Captain Bill does himself, and I don't know if he can break it down to that, but I could ask. Okay, he also wants to develop a task force to help in our community he wants his police officers to get to know the persons who are in our community who give service. Also, he wanted me to prepare you for a new policy that might come in the future, and this policy is police reports will be done by telephone. For instance, a robbery occurs, no one is injured, there's no witnesses, the person is not injured, so he calls and makes his report by telephone. Let me see, what else? He named off a number of things, but this would cut down on the calls for service So then when a real call comes in, the police officer will not be tied up as something that could have been reported by telephone. This has been tried in Indianapolis, and they have 7 people who take all of the calls for services. And then the regular 911 is available to dispatch people or cars to where they're really needed. The other thing is that I wanted to let you know that you can put your telephone books in the recycle bin. They will be picked up and recycled.
Does that include apartment buildings too?
Telephone books?
Yeah, they will pick them up at the.
Yeah, we still have some bins here for those people who have lost or had their bins stolen. You can pick them up. All you need to do is see someone in the office. I need someone to sit on the LS